The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for the 8th of June 2016 are currently trading with gold at $1,262.18 an ounce, silver $17.03 an ounce, Texas crude $50.36 a barrel, and Bitcoin is still climbing at 581 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1789, James Madison introduced and proposed the Bill of Rights in the U.S. House of Representatives. It consisted of a series of 39 amendments. The final version wasn't ratified until December 15th of 1791. The proposition of the Bill of Rights by James Madison, today in history. In recent news, Commander David Benham, spokesman for the Pacific Command, said that the U.S. Pacific Command has reviewed the details of the intercept of a U.S. reconnaissance aircraft on a routine patrol by two Chinese jets, J-10s, that occurred on J-7 in international airspace over the East China Sea. One of the intercepting Chinese jets had an unsafe excessive rate of closure on the RCI-35 aircraft. Initial assessments is that it seems to be a case of improper airmanship, as no other provocative or unsafe maneuvers occurred, and that the Pentagon is addressing the issue with China in appropriate diplomatic and military channels. Chinese Foreign Minister spokesman Hong Li told reporters in Beijing that the U.S. once again is deliberately hyping the issue. The relevant Chinese military personnel have always acted professionally and in accordance with the law, while repeating Chinese demands to close surveillance activity against China to prevent similar incidents from happening again. This latest incident is one of many close calls as of late between the People's Republic of China and the United States. A Montgomery County judge has sentenced Donald Middleton yesterday to life in prison. It seems the 56-year-old man was convicted of drunken driving 9 times since 1980. The sentencing was after he pleaded guilty last week to driving drunk in May of 2015 and caused a traffic accident where he apparently was arrested after allegedly fleeing on foot after the wreck and ran into a store and pleaded with clerks not to turn him in. He has already served 4 prison terms for alcohol-related convictions. Hillary Clinton is now the certain Democratic nominee after her win of key states last night, in particular California, where out of the 475 delegates up for grabs, she raked in 269 of them. As of now, the numbers stand at 2,203 delegates for Hillary and 1,828 for Sanders. However, the difference with superdelegates was more substantial, with Hillary nabbing 574 and Burnley only a measly 48. This is Rick Rohde with your lowdown for June 8th, 2016.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. I have a joke for you.
Okay.
The government in this town is excellent and uses your tax dollars efficiently.
I didn't see it coming. The moment they Bitcoin is immune from attack almost completely. Well, Bitcoin, you actually gain far more from using that computing power to generate Bitcoin.
There's a system approaching perfection. It's in time for it to disappear. There's a system approaching perfection. It's in time for it to disappear.
We'll walk deeper into the belly of the beast. It means I'm able to further limit reckless government spending. I mean, I have so many ideas. Some are simple, like take down traffic lights and eliminate the post office. The bigger ones will be tougher, like bring all of this crumbling to the ground.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Crypto Show, a show about disruptive technology, currency, and liberty, with a pinch of sticking it to the man. As always, we come to you live from the real heart of the resistance in Austin, Texas, deep beneath the Chase Bank, with a stack of Bitcoin miners at our back, undermining the bank and the man. We bring to you the latest info from those hacking away at the digital revolution and having some fun while we do it.
They see me rolling, they hating, patrolling and trying to catch me riding dirty. All right, guys, welcome to the latest episode of the Crypto Show. It is Wednesday, June 15th, 2016, the Ides of June. I don't know if that actually applies outside of March. Maybe it does. But hopefully if it does apply, that's not an unlucky thing. We are, of course, coming to you from the Brave Cave or Crypto Crypt or Crypto Cave, whatever anyone wants to call it, here underneath the Chase Bank, right next to Brave New Books in the heart of Central Texas, at the underground, literally and figuratively, battle for truth and liberty. we, of course, come to you if you're listening locally on 89.1 FM. And that is TXLR 89.1 FM through Logos Radio Network. Go to logosradionetwork.com. By the way, if you're new to the Crypto Show, and even if you're not, there's some other wonderful programming through this network that is full of interesting insights and information. And I listen pretty regularly. And as smart as I am, and I listen to it, well, then that you know that it must be some good stuff. I'm just kidding. Yeah, don't take my intelligence as a gauge for whether you should listen, but just take my word for it nonetheless. And of course, we are always brought to you by our sponsors. Brave New Books, as I mentioned before, is our number one sponsor. And don't forget to go to bravenewbookstore.com, where you can find not just many of the products available in the store that you can purchase online in the event that you just don't have time this week to go get some Tangy Tangerine or whatever else you need. But there is an events page at the top, an events link that will take you to the events page where you can find out all the cool stuff that's happening. And there's usually something happening every week and really multiple times a week, whether it's the meetup for Arcade City Austin or Eddie Craig's law traffic seminar or God knows what. There's also a charity poker tournament. I believe there's also a little church service once a week here. So different stuff for different folks with different strokes, as it were, and a lot of fun times to be had here at the bookstore. And don't forget, of course, to our other sponsor, Hill Country Home Improvements, for all your roofing needs, the only roofer in Central Texas, if not the world, that not only accepts but prefers Bitcoin. And they do excellent work, as can be attested by their A+ Better Business Bureau rated status, and a lot of customer testimonials on top of that. And of course, don't forget the Crypto Compare News Minute that we do every Sunday. We've diverged once from that and did it on a Wednesday when we took a Sunday off. But Crypto Compare is another gracious sponsor who provides us with the latest in Bitcoin news, and not just Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency news. There's always a price review on Bitcoin, Ether, and other of the major cryptocurrencies, and always some interesting headlines on what's happening in the cryptocurrency space. So we thank Crypto Compare for providing that for us every Sunday. And we have some special guests on today I'm very excited about. One is a returning guest, and one is a brand new guest that we're going to have in the second hour. He's actually an old friend of mine. I've known him for, I want to say probably coming on 10 years, actually, or at least pretty close to that. We're going to have Wilson Getchell on in the second hour. Old friend of mine. He is a performer, a singer-songwriter. He does so, I believe, solo work as well as plays with other bands. We'll talk to him about that. And the reason we're having him on is not just to showcase his talents, which are many, but his songs are often politically themed. In fact, the latest song that we're going to be talking to him about is The Apprentice Uber Alles about Trump, so that'll be interesting. And then I'm trying to get him set up with Bitcoin and even Tokenly, Adam B. Levine's Tokenly, since he is a musical artist. And if you caught that episode with Adam B. Levine and or Tatiana Moroz, you know that it's some cool technology available for music artists. Well, in the first hour, I'm going to get to our current guest who is on the line with us, it sounds like. He almost needs no introduction. He is an extraordinary man, John McAfee, cybersecurity expert, former Libertarian presidential candidate, the founder of the original McAfee antivirus software. And we're going to be talking to him about his latest venture. He is taking over the CEO position at MGT Capital Investments. And John, are you there?
I am here, sir.
Awesome. Can I call you John? Is that too forward?
Call me whatever you like, sir.
Okay, I won't put my hand on your leg. Don't worry. I'll just call you John. I'm not going to take it any further.
Fair enough.
Well, John McAfee, we're definitely pleased to have you back on. You're always interesting, always a riot, but always have some really cool tech stuff to tell us about. And so let's get to it. You are taking over CEO of MGT Capital Investments. And this constitutes basically a shift in focus for you. Previously, you had the company Future Tense Central that was focusing on a lot of internet and computer security. And now with MGT Capital, the focus is shifting more towards cryptocurrency. So tell us about that shift, and tell us how Future Tense Central and its subsidiaries fit into the new MGT Capital, if they do at all.
Well, and Future Tense is not part of MGT Capital. I've left the management of that to other people. MGT Capital is really a vehicle. It's a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. it seemed like the perfect vehicle. I don't know if you're aware of the nightmare of taking a company public. Hugely expensive, but more important, it consumes massive amounts of time, which at my age, I do not, I don't have an excessive amount of. So it was perfect. So becoming part of MGT, I really shut down the existing focus of the company completely and moved it towards cybersecurity. Now, cryptocurrency is just one aspect of cybersecurity. It's a very large aspect, and it's certainly the one with the weakest links in it. But it's just one of our aspects. We have currently we have 3 divisions. We have the cryptocurrency division. We have the end user product division, and we have we're calling it the military government industrial security division, and that will be our corporate government type of clients. And it's 3 completely different security requirements. And the problem with cryptocurrency is that you've got a bunch of extremely smart people, mathematicians and scientists and what have you, that have virtually no awareness of the subtleties of things like social engineering and hacking toolkits. I mean, for example, the most popular wallets out there that are software wallets think that they're secure because they use encryption and so on and so forth. But that means absolutely nothing. No one bothers to intercept communications between phones or pads or desktop computers anymore. They infiltrate the operating system so that you have keystroke loggers, keystroke executors, screen captures. So it doesn't really matter. I demonstrated a month ago how I could intercept the new WhatsApp encrypted communications by simply having them visit a website which installed keylogging software, and we're from 3,000 miles away. We're able to read every message. This is right after WhatsApp said, we're now completely secure because we have end-to-end encryption. So let me give you an example with a Bitcoin wallet. Let's say you have a really secure Bitcoin wallet, but it's on your phone or your laptop or your pad. You can download malware by simply visiting a website, a porn site, any kind of website. I can set one up and say, here's what we're doing with our new company, da-da-da-da. Go visit it, and suddenly I own your phone. Now, you have a wallet on that phone. I can cause that wallet app to execute. I can then press with software, send Bitcoins. I can then read the ID that comes up on the screen. I can then say send all of them. By looking at the screen, I can tell exactly how many Bitcoins you have. And some people, by the way, keep hundreds of thousands of dollars in their wallets. I can then send that to me while you're sleeping, and the phone is by the bed. But this is how simple it is, and the cryptocurrency community does not understand how sophisticated the hacking world has become.
Wow, cyber goosebumps with John McAfee, and I'm getting him. It almost that scenario you just described almost reads like a crypto horror story. And I'm no expert at a lot of this tech, but we've been doing the show for a good couple years, and I've been in the Bitcoin space for probably a couple years before that. So I'm definitely aware of a lot of the issues and ideas and technologies. But you're right. I certainly never would have thought that such an easy intercept mode was out there, but it is. It makes sense. I think you're right. As we come to break, we'll talk more about this on the other side with John McAfee. A lot of the people designing security for Bitcoin, whether it's wallet producers or what have you, they're sort of ignoring the low-hanging fruit and focusing on the idea of some huge organization doing the really brute hacking job, when in reality they're leaving the front door wide open. And so that's a really good point that John brings up, and it's exciting to know that someone is now focusing on this to fill the gap. So we'll talk more about this on the other side with John McAfee. Stay tuned. We'll be right back here on The Crypto Show.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
This is what happens when you call the cops. Say what? This is what happens when you call the cops. Come on. This is what happens when you call the cops. You get your rights violated or you all get shot. This is what happens when you call the cops. This is what happens when you call the cops. This is what happens when you call the cops. You get your rights violated or you all get shot. I'm sick of people being victimized by criminal cops. Psychopathic predators terrorizing neighborhood blocks. Equipped with pepper spray, mace, cuffs, tasers, and glocks. They like serial killers acting out subliminal thoughts. Forget what you taught. These cops have got a license to kill.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Crypto Show here on this lovely Wednesday, June 15th, 2016, a Wednesday here on Logos Radio Network. Go to logosradionetwork.com and donate. It is a listener-supported network, always has been, and its wonderful programming is only possible through the financial help of its listeners. Don't forget our other sponsors, Brave New Books. Go to bravenewbookstore.com and the bitcoinbookstore.com. The bitcoinbookstore.com, the sister site of Brave New Books' original website, has over 50 Bitcoin-related titles available there. In fact, I've got some friends from France coming in next month. I will probably, they speak fluent English, probably going to buy them one of those books to get them started on Bitcoin, because I think cryptocurrency is the wave of the future, and it's going to be so important in everybody's lives as so much changes economically and politically. And don't forget Hill Country Home Improvements for all your roofing needs, and the Crypto Compare News Minute every Sunday at the beginning of each segment, or sometimes just at the top of each hour with the Crypto Compare News Minutes. And we're talking with John McAfee, of course, originally of McAfee antivirus fame, former presidential candidate and cybersecurity expert. He is currently going to be taking over the role of CEO at MGT Capital. And as he was just explaining, if I can sum it up again for those who may be joining us for the first time, basically, as brilliant and knowledgeable as many of the people in the Bitcoin space are, developers of various stripes for wallets, and whatnot, their focus has been lopsided with respect to security. And while that focus has been very effective, insofar as it is concerned, and a lot of good technology and a lot of good platforms that focus on security and do a really good job at it have come out, they're sort of missing the forest for the trees, if you will, or I don't know what's a good analogy. But basically, they're focusing too much on the end-to-end security rather than the sort of simple security leaks that are possible. Irrespective if someone is trying to, say, intercept your Bitcoin, maybe they simply have spyware or malware out there that can then keylog your computer or do screen capture. And of course, as Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are increasingly popular and certainly well known in the hacking space, for instance, I forget what I think the general term for it is, but you get this Bitcoin kidnapping phenomenon, right? Where hackers will basically partition off your data on your computer and hold it hostage, and then you have to pay them in Bitcoin to get it back. My point being
ransomware.
Ransomware. Thank you. I couldn't think of the name. Thank you. Anyway, so yeah, there's a big hole in the security sphere missing when it comes to cryptocurrency, and really even just your own computer currency, but or security rather. But go ahead, John, and if you have anything to add to that.
Well, here's the issue. We live in a very strange world as far as hacking is concerned. I can go onto the dark web, and for $1,000, I can buy 400 million email addresses with your passwords. Okay, so now, if I have a team of 100 hackers, and we're all splitting the money, we can simply go out, log into everybody's email, and find out those who've been communicating with support at Mycelium or support at Coin Wallet or what have you, to find out which of you are Bitcoin users. Then send an email to you, a phishing email, and it'll be a very clever one, from Mycelium. It's not really from Mycelium; it's from us going, please log on to get latest update or whatever. 90% of the people just simply do it. It's got Mycelium as the address. You've got all of the things that looks absolutely real, and you log on and you update. But you don't update Mycelium at all. You download my spyware, which has 3 facilities. Number one, it reads every keystroke that you type in from this point on. It has the capacity for typing its own keystrokes in. Not typing, but passing to the application. It has the capacity to load or execute the app anytime it wants. And it has the capacity to read any screenshot that the application displays. So if I want to find out how many coins you got in your wallet, I'll load the app. And most of them on the front page, it says you have 20.713344 whatever Bitcoins. So I know exactly what you have.
My wallet.
I did. So then I press the send button to send money. I input my wallet address. I input the amount that's equivalent to the total that you have. And this happens within seconds, by the way. This happens at computer speeds. You wouldn't even see it. And within seconds, all of your Bitcoins are in my wallet. Now, if I choose the timing right, I know that you live in New York because I'll know that by looking at your location on your device. I'm going to wait until 2 a.m. when most people are asleep. You're not going to find out that your wallet's been emptied for 4 hours or 5 or 6. Too late then to do anything. So, and it's so trivial to do this. A 15-year-old kid can do it because all of the subroutines and packages that do this come in hacker toolkits. So you buy the hacker toolkit, then that's another $300 or $400, specifically for Bitcoin or specifically for whatever it is you're trying to hack. Patch the pieces together. Buy the email addresses, get a bunch of people checking them out, or you can get bots to do it. to find out who's using cryptocurrency and who isn't, and which currency they're using. And within a matter of days, this group of 100 hackers has gleaned $1 billion from end users. This is so trivial to do, and yet nobody is addressing it. And this is why I use Trezor, which is about the only thing out there available now, where I can lock myself in a closet, plug it into my laptop or anything, and get the seed keys without going through any of the intelligence of your phone or your pad or your laptop. So that's the only way you can possibly secure yourself. I'm not. By the way, I don't work for Trezor, nor do I get a commission. I'm just saying. And the other hardware devices, it doesn't matter that your currencies are stored on the hardware. Who cares? What matters is that the software part of the wallets ask you to input the seed keys on your smart device. Well, how smart is that? I mean, that's incredibly stupid. And yet, these smart people in the cryptocurrency community are all ignoring these trivial means of stealing everybody's bitcoins. Now, I'm not dissing anybody because people in corporations are not smart enough sometimes to know this. But this is my life. I've been in cybersecurity since for 50 years. And so what is second nature to me takes a while to explain to other people. So I'm trying to explain it simply, like I'm explaining it to your listeners now, so that you can understand the incredible risk. And for some of you, I have friends that have hundreds of thousands of dollars in software wallets. It shocks and astonishes me because you have to believe me, hackers will eventually get around to finding your phone, the amount of bitcoins in there, and they're going to steal it all.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying too. Is they will eventually get around to it. You've been lucky and you've been safe thus far. But again, as cryptocurrency gets more popular, more and more hackers, whether professional or amateur, are going to be focused on trying to steal your Bitcoin through these methods. And you said you've been in cybersecurity for 50 years. Well, I know that these types of hacks aren't new. They're old.
These are so old that it's like people. I don't even think about them. They're just part of the world I live in. Everything that I do, I'm instantly aware that, okay, this is a problem, that is a problem. And by the way, I use Mycelium because first of all, it works with Trezor, the hardware device. And secondly, because it's a great company and a great product. But even with Mycelium, with some of the hardware devices, it says, please input your seed keys here in this field on your phone. I'm going, oh, holy heck, not me, not ever.
Yeah.
So this is why I have a specific cryptocurrency division. And by the way, as part of that division, we have Eric Voorhees, Roger Ver, and Bruce Fenton, who've just come on board on the advisory board for that division. And they're pretty much luminaries in the Bitcoin field. And they've already helped me tremendously in understanding how we got to this absurd place where so much money is like you're leaving it outside on your doorstep in a paper bag saying, there's $10,000 in this bag. Please don't steal it. I mean, that's exactly what's happening.
And that's why we need some burning poop in that bag to discourage the theft of the money. No,
check out that Samurai wallet and Ledger as a cold wallet as well.
Yeah, they're both of them. In fact, I'm expecting a call from Ledger in an hour and a half.
We'll be right back too. Actually, be right back.
Do you like people looking over your shoulder while you surf the net? Probably not, but that could be happening if you're not using a proxy. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. I'll be back with an easy, privacy-friendly proxy tip in just a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
A proxy is a privacy tool that lets you view web pages through the identity of a third-party computer. You never make connection with the web pages you visit directly, so they can't see your personal information like your IP address or your location. They also can't put cookies or malware on your computer. There are many proxies on the internet, but one of the easiest to use is at StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine. Your search results are automatically delivered with a free proxy option. Just click the word proxy under a search result to view that website anonymously. That way, the websites you visit will only see StartPage, not you. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, wishing you safe internet searching. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Live Free Speech Radio, LogosRadioNetwork.com.
What's your plan for tomorrow? Are you a leader or will you follow? Are you a fighter or will you cower? It's our time. Take back the power. What's your plan straighten out MacBooks. And then silence you.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Crypto Show on this lovely Wednesday, June 15th, 2016. A Wednesday here on Logos Radio Network, brought to you as always by Brave New Books, Hill Country Home Improvements, and the Crypto Compare News Minute. We're talking with John McAfee, soon to be CEO of MGT Capital Investments, which itself may be renamed John McAfee Global Technologies. And we'll talk more about certain aspects of that here momentarily. But again, just to recap, because it is so important, a lot of the security with cryptocurrency and really other stuff is focused on end to end. But as John McAfee said to us off break, no one is listening in the middle anymore. In other words, that's not the line of attack that hackers are taking, in part because there has been so much success in the development of technologies and platforms for that mode of attack. And so now they're switching gears and looking for weaknesses that still exist. And as John pointed out, there's some big weaknesses, and they're big, but they're small, and they're so easy to overlook because people just, if you're looking in the distance, you're not going to see the guy sneaking up on you with a knife kind of thing. And so it's so crucial. And like John said too, and John, just to clarify again, it's not simply that they can send you to a link that will install malware or spyware. They can do it. They can install it on a major site. You simply can visit that site and have the problem, right?
Absolutely. You can visit a website. If you're running Android, as soon as you do a drive-by of the site, we set the download unauthorized app flag. Then the first time you click a link, we own you because we've now downloaded our malware. And the malware, you need to understand this, mimics you. It can force the load of your wallet. It can force the press of the send button. It can look at this first screen that's displayed, which always has your amount in it. And it can read all of your keystrokes. So those combined, if you're entering your seed keys, for example, which you only do once and then you write them down, who cares if you write them down? You've entered them. I've got you now. I know your seed keys. So it's all over. It's all over. And people don't understand. They think, well, I've got it offline on my hardware device. Well, you're going to have to plug that device in soon at some point to receive or send coins. The instant you've done that, I'm going to hit a send. You're not even going to see it happening. You're just going to see your amount go from 20.101 Bitcoins to zero. You're not going to know what happened.
Right, and it's not like the Go ahead.
Yeah, keep in mind, the software mimics you as the owner. This is what people don't understand. As far as the wallet is concerned, it is you that is ordering it to send these coins.
Is any of the technology that you were developing with like Demon Saw or any of that, are those guys anyway, their technology, is any of this helping in what you're planning on doing?
Absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that we're doing. It's taking time. There are pieces out there that solve segments of this problem. And we are buying up these pieces and we're gluing them together. But it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to take a few months before our first real product comes out. But hackers are watching. Obviously, they watch everything I do. I mean, think about it, okay? So I try not to say anything about technically how we're doing what we're doing because they're just going to figure out, so this is what he's doing. We'll have to get a more powerful toolkit to overcome what McAfee and MGT are doing. So it's a game, and it's a never-ending game. So we will come up with it. MGT comes up with a solution. It's good for a year. The hackers figure it out. We darn well better during that intervening year anticipate what the hackers are doing. And that's why, by the way, I formed the Hacker Advisory Board for MGT. And I've got the world-class hackers in there. Chris Roberts, the gentleman that commandeered the United Airlines flight last year by hacking into the flight control system to the entertainment system.
Cool.
It made headlines. Chris, by the way, is a seriously good friend of mine. He was not trying to be malicious. He had talked to Boeing until his mouth was sore, and they weren't listening. They didn't believe it. So he proved it. He just went on board, proved it, and tweeted, and was arrested by the FBI as soon as he got off the airplane. Why did he do it? To show the world, look, you're in serious danger here. What I did, a 15-year-old kid can do. Hack into a modern airliner and take control away from the pilot. Think about this. So I've got Chris Roberts. I've got a whole team of people like Chris, a couple of people who spent time in prison, but that doesn't concern me. What concerns me is if a company does not know, let's say you're a safe manufacturer, if you don't know how to crack safes or break into safes, you shouldn't be in the business of building them. Think about this. So if we are going to keep up with what we anticipate hackers are doing, we darn well better have hackers on board and the best. And so
I think they've been able to hack those planes since at least, I don't know, 2001, sometime around September.
I think it was the 11th of September.
Yeah, well, that's a different type of hacking. That was a non-technical hacking involving box cutters, a very low-tech device. But yeah, no. So Chris is the first to demonstrate this. So so all of this team are just superb hackers, superb, and so that's why I did it. Now this is unheard of in the industry, and it raised all kinds of outcries. What are you doing this for? I'm doing it so that we can help you solve your security problems. But I'm taking an unorthodox approach. I know this, but I know that it will work.
Well, an unorthodox approach for you is orthodox for you, but yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely orthodox for me. It seemed like the only logical step. And why isn't everybody doing this?
That's a really good point.
Over the last couple of shows that we talked to you, you seemed a little less interested in Bitcoin then, but you're a little bit more interested now. Why is that?
Well, it's because I've taken control, or I'm the CEO now, or will be soon to be inaugurated, of this public company, which is the vehicle I've been looking for to actually do what needs to be done to protect our privacy and our security. It's not that I had no interest in it. I mean, I tried. Last time I talked to you, I had tried every Bitcoin wallet. I had lost Bitcoins of my own stupidity. And was hacked one time. And if anybody's going to get hacked in this world, it will be me. I am the number one target. Seriously, it's a badge of honor for some hackers to go, "Hey, I hacked McAfee and took 12 Bitcoins from him." And
they've hacked Roger Ver too and took some of his. So.
Yes, well, yeah, he's also a target. All the Bitcoin luminaries are. Roger, by the way, is a really cool cat. I like Roger.
Yeah, we love Roger.
I'm glad he agreed to join us because he's already helped out tremendously. And just the fact that Roger and Eric Voorhees and Brian Fenton are now on the board. Yeah, we're getting calls from all kinds of people going, "Hey, what's going on? What are you guys doing?" And I can then.
That's why we called you.
Yeah, right. That's why you called me. See, no one wants to talk to me from me.
Yeah.
We didn't care about you. Yeah. We just wanted you to talk about Bruce Fenton.
McAfee's connecting with cool people now.
Yeah, and not just because he likes bath salts. Right.
I was wondering when you were going to throw that in there.
I would say that. It's because I know about something and happen to be the expert on the subject.
I was going to ask you about the ones I gave you in San Antonio. Were they any good or not?
That was a poor substitute for a thing called 4FA. And it actually turned out to be methylene dioxide pyrovalerone, better known as MDPV. It gave me a bad headache, and I tried to eat somebody's face.
Uh-oh. Well, I guess you didn't succeed.
Don't give me that anymore.
I guess you didn't succeed in eating that person's face, and that's why you're here, so that's good.
No, I didn't. I was subdued by my bodyguard and my wife.
Okay, well, good. Thank God they had the sense.
Hey, they were all natural.
They could see where it was headed.
I did think forward enough to give you all natural bath salts. So
there is no such thing as natural MDPV, by the way.
Oh well, too bad.
If anybody out there in the listening audience has ever been offered that, seen people do it, do not, under any circumstances, go near it. Don't put it up your nose or in any other orifice. Don't dissolve it in Coca-Cola. Nothing. Stay the heck away.
That's probably really good advice among other cybersecurity advice that John McAfee can give. Well, we're coming to break. We're going to do another segment or so with John and talk about continue talking about what he's doing. So stay tuned here, guys. We'll be right back.
Okay. While we're
chip in my wife. I don't want a chip in my babies. Stay out of our lives. Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me. I sit down with Big Brother. Shame on that big
Welcome back, guys, to the Crypto Show here on this lovely June 15, 2016, a Wednesday on Logos Radio Network, brought to you as always Brave New Books, Hill Country Home Improvements, and the Crypto Compare News Minute. We're talking with John McAfee, soon to be CEO of MGT Capital Investments. And, as Danny...
The name, even if you don't name it John McAfee, it's going to change to MGT Global Technologies in any case. So,
MGT Global Technologies. Okay. All right, yeah, MGT Global Technologies, soon to be renamed. And, as Danny was kind of asking about his partial shift in focus to cryptocurrency. It's not simply joining up with new people, new companies that are already kind of focused on cryptocurrency. Clearly, cryptocurrency as it revolutionizes finance and finance done over the internet, and then also revolutionizes other forms of technology, is going to be just an increasingly part of what is cybersecurity. So I think it's just an inevitable.
We've interviewed, I think, 4 of the guys from Future Tense and about the different types of technology. They're all security technologies. And
yeah, exactly. And what's cool is, so I know that Future Tense isn't a part of MGT, but if I'm not mistaken, I read that MGT is going to be purchasing a couple of the subsidiaries from Future Tense Central, correct?
Right, that's already happened with Demon Saw and Devasive. Demon Saw is the it's an astonishing app developed by the chief architect of Grand Theft Auto, which, if you don't know that, it's the most successful video game of all time.
Grand Theft Auto 2.
Yeah, and he is one of the most brilliant programming minds I've ever come across. And
we're talking about Eric
Eric,
of course.
Eric Anderson. I just call him EJ. I worked with him for a year and never knew his real name. Because everybody knows him as EJ, which is his hacking name. But in any case, it's the most incredible platform. File sharing, security. It's going to replace Dropbox and the cloud. It will make the cloud totally unnecessary, and it will give you much more control over all of your information. I mean, let's face it, data storage is so cheap these days. I mean, I've got 64 gigs on this tiny little device I'm holding in my hand and talking to you on. You know how long it takes to fill 64 gigs? I don't care how much music you love. It's going to be half a year trying to fill it up. So data storage is so cheap. Why are we using a cloud? We're using it because it's convenient. But using Demon Saw, you become your own cloud or a part of it. And you can either share it with others or keep it to yourself and access it from anywhere, or do anything you want with it. So it's a completely new paradigm where you don't have, because the cloud now, what is it? It's called a cloud for a reason. You have no clue where your data is, who's managing it, what piece of hardware it's on, what security facilities they have in place, or anything else. I mean, hackers love the cloud. It's kind of like, okay, so here's this black box, and you have little slots. Please put all of your valuables in here. Well, who's in there? I mean, every hacker in the world is in there. So the cloud, I know it's convenient, and we all love convenience, but the worst idea from a security standpoint that has ever come into the world. So in any case, I could go on forever about that. But Demon Saw solves all these problems. And Devasive is this wonderful little device that actually locks down, so that if I'm waiting for you to go to bed, so that I can steal all of your Bitcoins without you noticing, because there might be a flicker on your phone as I turn it on. And by the way, this software, when you power down, that's not a hard switch. That's a link to software that does the software shutdown. So most of these malware programs pretend to shut down. They have all the bells and whistles, and the screen goes black, and there you are. But you should all try this. I promise you that half of your listeners, if you'll wake up at 3 a.m. and place your hand on the phone, it is going to be warmer than the whatever you have placed it on. Why? Because it's still turned on. Mm-hmm. So in any case, Devasive allows you to lock down your Wi-Fi, your Bluetooth, your camera, your microphone, whatever you want, so that such things are impossible.
Doesn't it also protect you from Stingray and Kingfish?
Well, that feature's not in there yet. We haven't released that feature yet. It's called an IMSI device, IMSI. The things that pretend to be cell towers, which are not. And once you connect up to them, the first thing they do is push down an update to your, like if it's a Verizon or an AT&T, it'll go, oh, AT&T update. And the next thing you know, Android is gone. And in its place is this very complex thing that spends the rest of its life spying on every aspect of your life. So Devasive prevents such things from happening.
Yeah, pretty incredible technologies. And Devasive in particular, I think, is so crucial. Well, they're all crucial, but with Demon Saw too, cloud computing is already the wave of the future where everyone's going. So Demon Saw, in a sense, is the future of the future. I mean,
it gives you everything that cloud computing gives you, but in addition, it gives you total control over your data. You know who has it. You have it. Okay, you get to decide what security you want to put on it. So
it also has a special feature of a social. What is it? A social password?
It's actually called social encryption. And this and he just thought of this. What a terrific idea. So here's the problem with almost every encryption algorithm. You have some sort of out-of-band communication with the person that you are sending or receiving encrypted data from. With social encryption, you avoid that. Let's say you and I want to send a private communication, and it's something that only you and I will ever be able to read. And let's say I've known you for only a short time, but I go, you remember the date that you and I first talked? And you say, yeah. And you remember what you said at the end of that first email? And you go, yeah, I remember that. Or if you don't, you can go look it up. And do you remember who else was on the show? And on and on and on until we reach a key that nobody could possibly know except for you and I. Now, let's say we wanted to add a third person to that. We would then change that key to match only those things that the three of us were aware of.
Multi-sig social. Multi-sig social.
It's all in our minds. There's nothing that hits the keyboard. Nothing gets written down. We all know now, so that's our key. Good. Well, hell, you can listen to that all day long, and you're never going to find out that key. There's nothing out of band about it. So what a brilliant idea. Or you could use anything you want. Remember that web address of that porn site, that thing that they shut down, That's element one of our keys. Element two, you remember when in our fraternity, when you got drunk and fell in the pool? What was the name of that girl that fished you out? Okay, so not only do you and I know it, this would be something that the entire fraternity would know at that time. So this would be an example of a social key that's known by multiple people, but nobody outside that group. So
right, exactly, and it's brilliant because it's really old technology, if you will, that you brought up a good example. Fraternities or secret societies have used, or old friends have used, or even movie scenarios where it's like they made a replica of the main character, but only the main character tells his girlfriend, "Do you remember that night?" Blah blah blah, and then she realizes it's the real him. It's brilliant because the data that is key to decrypting sort of is never transmitted. The real data, it's in the heads. It remains only in the heads of people.
So what we're doing is we're putting the human mind back into the equation, which should have been done years ago. Please, we need
a brain wallet.
It's a brain wallet, absolutely, and it's something that's shared. It's called shared stored knowledge that we all who have experienced it would know, and if you haven't experienced it, there's no way for you to guess it. If you have enough elements of the key, so as soon as he told me, they said, "Good God, who are you?" Because it was like so obvious. It was right in front of us all this time, and it took Egypt to say, "Well, we're codifying this now, and we're giving it a name, and now we'll all know what that means." And I'm going, "Dude, you're working with me," and from that point on, we've been working together.
And I have to say too, well, first of all, it's the theme of tonight, I think, is getting back to basics and using old technologies in a new way. In other words, like using this old technology, if you will, of the social, what do we even call it? I can't remember now. But using this concept, which is old, that people have been that people have been using, and then going back to the old hacking, key logging, screen capture stuff that's been around forever. Again, getting back to old stuff and making it new again, or addressing it. That's beautiful. But I wanted to say too that Ija, when we had him on, again, I'm going to liken it to like the Matrix, where in like in the third Matrix, like Neo can feel the presence of the machines coming, like the powerful force of them. Like when we had Ija on, it was like I had this sense of a huge mind that was much bigger than my own and godlike, that I was feeling.
That's the feeling I get around him.
He was just so brilliant. We've had some really smart people on the show, but like, man, he was just like out there. So he's a great pick for CTO, I think, for this company.
Well, he is, but he's not a great pick to go partying with. And I love you if you're listening, and I'm sure you will. I do. You are one of my favorite minds on the planet. But here's Ija. By the way, I've never seen him go out on a date, ever, with anybody, at any time. His idea of a party is, hey, let's get a bunch of people around and sit down and open our laptops and do work all night. So
LAN party.
Pardon?
LAN party, except not video games.
Right, and then let's talk about something interesting. Yeah, okay. Let me talk about recursive subroutines to you. So, after about a day, I'm saying, okay, I'm not going to hang myself because that's probably counterproductive, but that stage is getting close. I love you, Ija. I really do.
He's a great guy. No, he's awesome. We're coming to break. I want to wrap up with you, John, on the other side, because I still want to talk about Roger Ver and Eric Voorhees. Only a few minutes, and then we'll get to our second guest, Wilson Getchell, and I'm really excited about that. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Can't Be Trusted, and always such a germane song, either with respect to the government or just the fact that when you have anything cyber related, trust as little as possible, because there's so many cybersecurity threats out there. Don't trust third parties to a minimum. Don't trust your own computer, because it could have malware, spyware on it that you're not even aware of. So one of the things we talked about with John McAfee, that his new company is going to be addressing, that a lot of people have overlooked in the space, because they focus on end-to-end, man-in-the-middle encryption type security, that at this point the arms race is, well, it's not settled, but it's not sort of worth the time of a lot of hackers out there. So they're actually resorting to older school, simpler means that are actually way more effective.
Way more.
Yeah, way more effective. And so that's kind of the theme again, is getting back to basics and using old technology and new. Well, I want to wrap up with you here in a few minutes so we can get to our next guest. It's been a great conversation with you. It always is. And we're really excited about what you're doing, because it really is so crucial. Again, it's been so underappreciated until now. And I'm glad that word is getting out about what you're doing and people are contacting you, because this sort of security hole needs to be filled. And, it gives me chills, just the scenarios you went through that, in a sense, I was already aware of. But even with that awareness, I just didn't put it together with the fact that it could happen to my Bitcoin. So it's definitely an important thing. Well, let me talk to you real quick as we wrap up. We mentioned Eric Anderson as CTO, EJA, as his hacker name is. Brilliant choice. You've got Brian Seeley on as well. You also said Chris Roberts, was it?
Chris Roberts, the gentleman who hacked the United Airlines flight.
Right. And actually, speaking of which, too, real quick for our listeners, there was a couple of hackers who hacked an auto. I can't remember if it was a self-driving car or not, but
that was a pretty trivial hack, by the way. Yeah, it was actually a Jeep, and it was being driven by a Wired magazine reporter, and they drove it off the road, took full control away from the driver.
And you said it was a trivial hack, and that's part of the point.
That's a trivial hack. Why is it trivial? Because you are hacking a trivial device. How much do you think General Motors or anyone puts into, how much thought do they put into making the chip that controls your automobile secure from hacking? None.
Because they're not thinking about it.
These are automobile designers. They don't know anything. It would not even come into their head that by combining the control mechanism with Wi-Fi, suddenly you have now opened up your control mechanism to anybody in the world who has a Wi-Fi connection.
It's basically people overlooking the technological convergence that's happening.
Yes, that's basically it. You've got two technologies, each of which seem, there's no problem with this, there's no problem with this, but you put them together and suddenly I own you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a scary thought. So really, this is a really important show, guys, because this is such an important topic. This is going to be important for years and decades to come. It really is, especially as technologies converge and especially as cryptocurrency becomes more relevant. Well, I think we've kind of definitely sent that point home, and I certainly hope so. And it's definitely sent it home with me because, again, I still got the chills about it. But I want to real quick as we wrap up, you got Roger Ver, Bitcoin Jesus himself. You got Eric Voorhees.
Help me, Jeebus.
Who's, Bitcoin John the Baptist, if you will. Who did I call John the Baptist? Was it Eric? Maybe it was. Tell us about that. And you also have Bruce Fenton. I mean, three of the biggest names in Bitcoin. And what is their role going to be? And what is this advisory board?
Okay, so I do not claim to be a specialist in any area of the life, neither corporate Ethernets nor Bitcoin nor any other cryptocurrency. My specialty is security, cybersecurity. And I know every single means that hackers use to get into the control mechanisms on top of which all of these applications rest. Like for Android, it is the operating system called Android. That is the owner of your computer. And as long as that is intact, you're fine. But I can download one of hundreds of applications that will run and root my phone for me automatically. Once your phone is rooted, good Lord, there is nothing I can't do. I now become Android, and I am the one that chooses and decides what I, as the application, want to be. And the smart hacker makes his application you. So that when that app wants to open the wallet, it pretends to be you. When it inputs your keys, which is what you input, so it knows exactly what your code is, it pretends to be you. When it says send all of my Bitcoins to John McAfee in Hong Kong, it's pretending to be you. This is what people do not understand. I've been in computers and software technology my whole life, and this whole structure, this whole hierarchy is second nature to me. So it takes me no time at all to see things. And And I think I get impatient with people because they don't see it instantly. I'm going, good Lord, dude, you're keeping your wallet on your phone? Have you lost your mind? And not realizing that their experience and history and the way they think is not the same as me. So, but you got to believe me. I see all the threats out there, and it's horrifying. It's scary. And I have a difficult time myself securing myself. I can give the excuse that I am the largest target in the world, and maybe that will mitigate my stupidity. But seriously, so if I have a hard time, good Lord, what is the rest of the world going to do?
Yeah, everyone. If you're having a hard time, they're going to have a really hard time. And it's actually one of the things that's deterred me from getting friends into Bitcoin is I don't want to. And actually, I guess I have kind of thought about this. I've hesitated getting them to set up a wallet or an exchange account, in part because I don't know that their hardware device is secure, that it doesn't have malware, spyware. So that's actually been a deterrent for me from getting people into Bitcoin. So, I mean, it really is so important. I just want to say, too, with getting Eric Voorhees and Roger Ver, let me just quote Roger Ver. If anyone is doubting, if anyone wasn't convinced by all the awesome stuff John McAfee just said and all of the, important warnings about what's going on, Roger Ver said, I can't think of anything more exciting to be working on or with a more exciting group of people, in reference to John McAfee, Brian Seeley, Chris Roberts, Ija, and MGT Capital. So that is quite a ringing endorsement from Roger Ver. So if you have any respect for him or his credibility, which I think everyone does, that should be an assurance to people that what they're doing is vitally important and is going to be one of the biggest things going forward when it comes to cybersecurity, but also especially with crypto security. So, well, John McAfee.
I'd like to end with just one sentence, if I could. I'll make it brief. My biggest problem is going to keep all the members from my hacking advisory board from stealing all the Bitcoins from all the members of my cryptocurrency board.
Let the game begin. The fight is on.
It's Hunger Games, man.
Well, I guess that'll be pitting them against each other will be the way that you develop the technologies to their utmost potential.
Well, this is actually my plan. It really is. I'm not joking. I mean, none of my people would steal their coins forever, but they would empty everybody's wallet.
Only for 100 years.
And give it back the next day saying, look, here's the problem. Right? I know all of these people. We're going to have some fun, I promise you.
I don't doubt it. And like you said, Chris Roberts did it. A white hack alerted Boeing, and he was just trying to help out. And that's quite a testament to his integrity.
That Eric Voorhees would appreciate any input after the Shapeshift hack.
And that's true, too.
There's nothing. Eric's a really smart man.
Oh, yeah.
But that prevents Shapeshift from, And by the way, I would like to commend Shapeshift for immediately, without question and without prodding, covering everybody's losses. We need more people like that.
We absolutely do. It just helps with credibility and confidence. And, Eric is a man of integrity as well, and that doesn't surprise me. So we definitely laud him for that, Eric Voorhees at Shapeshift. But, of course, now he's on the advisory board with MGT. John McAfee, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's been a really wonderful interview. And I think one of the most important interviews we've done in a while, just because of how important this matter is. Do you have any parting thoughts for us?
Yeah, stay away from MDPB.
All right.
Well, John McAfee, thank you so much, guys. Check it out. And John, what's the new name again, real quick, of the company?
It's MGT Global Technologies.
MGT Global Technologies, formerly
the stock symbol is MGT.
Oh,
you can follow it on Yahoo Finance or any site that follows public stocks.
Excellent. Any other sites you want to throw out there for people to follow you or the company?
Yeah, my Twitter account is my most active. Official McAfee. We have fun on that account. Up until Twitter shuts me down. So
we have fun on that account. I love the way he said that so formally and businesslike, like it was a commercial, but it was awesome. All right. And you said it's Official McAfee?
Official McAfee. MCAFEE.
Awesome.
Come check it out before Twitter does in fact shut us down, or the FBI or the NSA or the Pentagon or somebody. So
God knows the government will try. So
yes,
all right.
Indeed.
John McAfee, always a pleasure. We would love to have you on again as things develop with the company and any products or other developments roll out. So we'll be in touch, and we really appreciate your time.
And can somebody send me a link to this? Segment?
I'll take.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do that probably later tonight.
Thanks for having me on. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you, John. Us too. We'll talk to you soon. Bye. Well, that was a lot of fun. John McAfee, returning guest to the show. He's so wonderful because he's both a barrel of fun and just a brilliant guy who can intelligently and clearly talk about some otherwise really technical and difficult topics.
And for the bath salt thing, basically, I approached John McAfee at the Libertarian Convention and offered him a big bottle of organic bath salts. And the first thing he asked me was, are we going to snort this or what? Well, he didn't know I already had $1 rolled up, so I handed it to him, and he's like, no, I'm just kidding. You can't smoke this or snort it, whatever. You'd have to be an idiot to do that. But so I called his bluff, and there's actually video of it, and it's pretty funny because standing on the other side of me is Lynn Ulbricht, so it's kind of a pretty cool picture.
That's pretty funny. Danny trying to resurrect the Silk Road. One John McAfee at a time, I guess.
My first customer, John McAfee. Here, buy some bath salts.
But he didn't, to his credit, like he said. And he said, stay away from that stuff because it probably is very bad. I don't doubt it. Well, unfortunately, we're coming to break. I can't wait to have my friend Wilson Getchell on. We'll bring him on the other side. I was hoping to give him a full 4 segments, but 3 is still pretty good. We went a little long with John McAfee, but I think it was important because there was a lot to talk about, and it was some pretty important stuff. So very excited. Wilson is very talented, and we might talk some politics with him as well. So stay tuned here on The Crypto Show. We'll be right back with Wilson Getchell after the break.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
For the longest time. For the longest. If you said that Bitcoin was my line, I would tell you.
Show enough. Show you right.
What else can I do? I'm so inspired by you, and I'm just holding for the longest time. Once I knew my stocks and bonds were gone, I knew totally.
All right, guys, welcome back to The Crypto Show. We've got 3 more segments left on this lovely Wednesday, June 15, 2016, here on Logos Radio Network. And I'm super excited after having a good and fun interview with John McAfee to introduce my next guest. He's an old friend of mine. I've known him for probably the better part of a decade. I met him at the University of Texas when we were both students there. His name is Wilson Getchell, and he's on, we don't do it super often, but we have done it. We've had musical guests on to perform, like Zhao Tong, the Bitcoin parodyist, or Rob Hustle of robhustle.com with his songs, This Is What Happens When You Call the Cops, which of course is one of our intro songs, and then the sequel Good Cops, which of course is meant ironically. And of course we don't just have good musical talent on, we have good musical talent with a message, and that's the same here with Wilson Getchell. And let me just do a quick bio for him. Singer-songwriter Wilson Getchell has released The Apprentice Über Alles, a new satirical music video about the presumptive Republican Party presidential nominee, Donald Trump. The Apprentice Über Alles parodies the classic Dead Kennedy song California Über Alles and takes aim at the reality TV star turned politicians' asinine rhetoric and dangerous policy proposals. The music video is sardonic yet foreboding, as Wilson conveys both the seriousness and the ridiculousness surrounding the rise of Trump. The video can be viewed on YouTube, and the audio is available via Bandcamp, iTunes, Spotify, and other online music sites. Wilson Getchell is an independent musician and artist currently based in Raleigh, North Carolina, who has been writing, recording, and performing throughout the United States for almost a decade. As the former frontman of the band Wall-Eyed, Wilson has been praised by publications such as The Big Takeover, IndieMusic.com, and various independent online music publications. His music incorporates numerous styles and genres, including punk, folk, country, jazz, and doo-wop. For more information, music and videos, please visit wilsongetchell.com or walleyed.net. That's WALL-EYED.net. And Getchell is spelled Getchell, wilsongetchell.com. Please direct all inquiries to admin@wilsongetchell.com. And can I give out your phone number?
Well, no, you weren't supposed to read all that.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was still a good bio.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
No, Wilson, it's a pleasure. I'll leave off the phone number part.
Yeah.
I figure all the rest is okay, though.
I do worry about Trumpkins coming after me. So,
well, I wouldn't worry too much. I'm sure the furor and passion for Trump will die down eventually. And if they're supporters of Trump, they're probably not the most capable anyway. So I don't think they're.
That's what I'm banking on as well. So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, so we're here to have you. We're going to play a couple of your music videos. Again, the premiere one, the latest one is The Apprentice Über Alles, as we just talked about Trump. You also have some other politically themed songs.
Well, yeah. I guess definitely would like to talk about the Trump one. But it's
no, but I'm just definitely, and that'll be our focus. And if we get a chance, I'd love to talk about the other ones if we have time, and maybe some other stuff. But some other politically themed ones are "You're Gonna Pay," "Brother Can't Spare a Dime," and "Lemonade Stand to the Tyranny." Probably my favorite title is "The Lemonade Stand to the Tyranny," although "The Apprentice Super Alice" is pretty awesome.
Right.
Well,
that's just because Chris is a member of the Lemon Party, but
good.
No, the Lemonade Stand Tyranny one's one of my favorites as well.
Excellent. Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to talk about it. So before we get into the Trump, tell us what got you into music and politically themed music, and then tell us what inspired the Trump video.
Well, sure. They're intertwined. I mean, I grew up, in high school and a little before was really into punk rock music, like particularly the political punk, Dead Kennedys, Crass, Subhumans, a lot of like British anarcho punk, things like that.
It's hard to separate politics from that kind of music. Yeah, good point.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely, and part of a lot of the ideas in punk rock, I sort of don't, subscribe to anymore. But they did sort of set a weird foundation, sort of all the anarchy stuff. I mean, libertarianism, for example, is kind of like organized anarchy. Just like the bare minimum, what you need. But it did sort of set a political foundation. But that was just sort of how I ended up getting into music at the same time. I was really into
may not actually apply to Gary Johnson.
Right. But touche. But so I sort of got into playing music, but sort of through that vehicle of sort of punk, I guess, and even just sort of popular stuff like Nirvana. I was like, a kid in the 90s, so that was what was going on. And stuff.
Right. Well, and all good music has a message, and like we just said, punk rock music in particular tends to be political, regardless. But it makes sense. Your entree into politics was through political music like punk rock, and though you may not share many of the same views as you did with those punk rockers, it nonetheless got you to thinking politically. And I think that's the important thing.
No, and I've commented to people before that kids that just listen to really vapid stuff all the time, that they're really missing out on a lot of interesting stuff. But anyway, that's a separate point for sure.
Well, no, it's true though, because I mean, there's good music that's vapid, just because maybe it's got a good tune. But a big part of music is the lyrics, or the words and the meaning. Sure. And I think some of the most powerful songs are those, not just with the message, but with a political message, because politics touches upon us all, and shares commonalities with a lot of other aspects in life. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that people aren't more intellectually into music as they simply are aesthetically, because the intellectual side, I think, is also aesthetic in its own right, and you can derive a lot of pleasure from that, as well as insight and stuff. Well, so tell us what inspired the Trump video, and it obviously the Trump video is not very favorable to Trump, but what kind of got you going on that song?
And also, why did you have Danny Bonaducci pose in the thumbnail here?
I just thought he was the right cover. Okay. He's a sexy man.
He is a sexy man. Looks a little like Wilson.
Yeah. But no, I mean, look, I'm a political conservative on most things. I'm not. I sort of lean heavily libertarian, but
good.
I'm certainly not a modern American doctrinaire libertarian. But I certainly lean heavily that way. Well, yeah, I mean, let's not even get there. But
I'm just kidding. Well, I like hearing that you're libertarian leaning. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. But anyway, so I mean, I've obviously been disgusted by the last 7-8 years of Obama's and
Are you racist?
No, obviously. So it was just, I don't know. So anyway, the point being is that, this new election, there was all these candidates, a lot of them were pretty good. No candidate's perfect or anything, but there was this huge stage of relatively conservative candidates. And for some reason, the GOP selected this buffoon, and it was pretty disheartening. I was pretty upset about it personally. It just was what the hell? And so, I mean, to answer your question, what inspired it? I mean, it's sort of that I don't know, perplexed and angered state that from watching the rise of Trump. It was just absurd from the get-go.
Well, right, and you're right. I mean, it's not simply obviously there was a huge number of candidates up until recently in the Republican Party, but of course Trump is now the presumptive candidate, if not the full-fledged official one. So it makes sense to focus on him. But even beyond that, he's been the most outspoken, the most controversial, And I think the most ridiculous, because I don't really believe in voting myself. I mean, that's my thing, and I think it's all rigged. That's my thing too. But people like someone like Ted Cruz, for instance, I would say is a better candidate than Donald Trump in just strictly speaking from, say, a conservative or even just a rhetorical standpoint. And that's not my endorsement of Ted Cruz. I don't like him. But my point is, it's shocking that Donald Trump became the front runner because of, frankly, how ridiculous and nonsensical and illogical at times he was. Well, we're coming to break, so let's talk more with Wilson Getchell on the other side, and we'll also play the music video, so stay tuned.
Remember Madonna's hit song Express Yourself? Well, the Material Girls anthem turned out to be very good advice for couples. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll be back to tell you why in just a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This public service announcement is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Comedian Phyllis Diller might have been onto something when she joked, "Never go to bed mad, stay up and fight." Researchers at the University of Michigan studied marital conflict in 197 couples over 17 years. Couples where both partners suppressed their anger over unfair attacks were twice as likely to die earlier than couples where at least one partner expressed their anger. Professor Ernest Harburg, the lead author of the study, says couples should identify healthy ways to handle their conflicts and work them through to resolution. He warns that couples who bury their anger, brood on it, and resent their partners are setting themselves up for trouble and shorter lives. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht. More news and information at CatherineAlbrecht.com.
Trails.
You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at LogosRadioNetwork.com.
I've been walking a tightrope between fact and fiction. Been wrestling with demons in small bottle prisons. Been talking to sinners who claim to be Christian. Been shouting at leaders who claim to be listening. And the pendulum swings from the left to the right. Its momentum increases the need for the fight.
Welcome back, guys, to the Crypto Show here on this lovely Wednesday, June 15th, 2016, here on Logos Radio Network. Brought to you as always by Brave New Books, Hill Country Home Improvements, and Crypto Compare with the Crypto Compare News Minute. I want to give a shout out to my friend Chris, or Mark Chris Taylor, who may be listening right now in his car, according to the text he sent me. I haven't seen him in a long time. I hope to see him soon. He's a good person, a good friend. And I'm excited that he contacted me recently on Facebook. It just took me over a week to get back to him.
And shout out to...
And now he gets a radio shout out.
And now he gets a radio shout out. It's better than that.
Shout out to Bitcoin for being $728 right now.
$728. And it did briefly touch upon $666 exactly the other day. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, Bitcoin is on the rise. It's up in the last 9 months. It's gone up from like $230 to over $700. So pretty incredible with Chinese demand. Now that the yuan is devaluing and capital controls are being implemented, the Chinese are switching to Bitcoin to avoid government tyranny and financial loss. So good for them, and good for the rest of us who may or may not hold Bitcoin. And of course, we did have John McAfee on in the first hour to talk about his new MGT Global company that he's becoming CEO of soon. Great interview. Check it out. Very important stuff about cybersecurity, whether or not you have cryptocurrency. And currently we're talking with Wilson Getchell, an old friend of mine, about his music and his song, The Apprentice Uber Alles, a parody of Donald Trump. And Wilson, before we play it, we were interrupted by the break. You were going to kind of explain, well, I was kind of elaborating myself about my view, which I think is common, that Trump is just this ridiculous goofball playboy who miraculously got the Republican nomination. And, you know, it's mystifying to me because, one, he basically used to be a Democrat. Two, he gave money to the Hillary Clinton politically. Three, the Clintons were at his wedding. Four, he's espoused an anti-Republican or otherwise Democratic positions before and has flip-flopped many times. And five, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of substance. It's all sort of showmanship and ridiculousness. And I have a lot of libertarian friends who are supporting him. And no offense to them, I don't understand why they're supporting him. He's not libertarian. He's not anti-establishment. You know, he's got a building on Wall Street, and he met with Henry Kissinger in private. But that doesn't get you more establishment than that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that you have libertarian friends who are supporting him. Like, I know very few people, and I know lots of conservative libertarian folks. You know, everyone I know begrudgingly, anyone who supports him at all is like very begrudgingly and is,
and they're depressed about it, basically.
Exactly. And I don't want to be a part of that. But yeah, I mean, it was my whole connection to the conservative libertarian movement is through ideas. And once you nominate a man like Donald Trump, it's like you've thrown all that out the window. I mean, you're talking about a guy who wants to, basically destroy free trade.
You guys got it all wrong. He's going to fix the debt. He's just going to print more money.
He's angry about it. His face gets really orange, and that's how you know he's going to accomplish. I guess. It's just. But it's it was at the same time it was pretty distressing. To just like I guess I was under. The good thing about it is that it exposed things that I didn't know about but needed to know about as far as like what the political alliance was within the Republican Party, and I don't want to be aligned with people who can support someone like Donald Trump. So I'm done with all those folks.
Well, amen. I agree with you. I mean, I'm not a Republican, and I don't believe in party politics or voting, but it is a real.
I don't either, if I may. But they at some point, I do think it makes sense. Politics is about building coalitions, about finding what you have in common, not so much focusing on what you don't. But once you have someone like Trump, I just think you're throwing out the entire principles that built the coalition of sort of political small government conservatives.
Right. Well, it's whatever you believe. It's pretty easy to point out that support for Trump is essentially hypocritical and inconsistent for a conservative or Republican. And even to some extent, Democratic or liberal bashing of Trump is also inconsistent because of his previous or current Democratic views. I mean, like the tariffs on China, that's not necessarily partisan, but it is, part of the Democratic platform, generally speaking, of hampering economics and economic freedom and free trade. And of course, it would totally destroy jobs and increase prices. It's nuts. And that's just one.
If you don't play this song,
let's play the song. Let's play the song.
You're going to run out of time.
I'm talking too much. Play the song first, Danny. The Apprentice Uber Alles.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
The judge, who happens to be, we believe, Mexican.
And believe me, if I become president, do they have problems? They're going to have some problems.
Like a punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
I'm not like other people. Mexico sends its people.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime.
I will build a great, great wall.
I'm celebrity Donald Trump. With my army of illiterate chumps. Soon I will be president. Our human rights will soon go away. I will be your one day. I will command my army to track down and punish you. It's gonna be so amazing too. The Apprentice.
Wow, history in the making. What an incredible song, Wilson. I have to admit, not only was that incredible songcraft, but the production value on that was amazing too. Congratulations. That was an amazing song.
I appreciate that. And to be fair, it is a sort of updated version of a classic Dead Kennedy song, the California Uber Alice, which was about Jerry Brown. But
well, we're coming to break, so let's talk more on the other side with Wilson Getchell.
Sweet.
Easy.
Guys, welcome back to the final segment of the Crypto Show. We are talking with Wilson Getchell. Go to wilsongetchell.com. Getchell is spelled Getchell.com to find out more about him and his music. And you can also look for him on YouTube. Some songs of note, of course, the one we just played, The Apprentice Uber Alles. You're going to pay, Brother, Can You Spare a Dime? Lemonade Stand, The Tyranny. And I should add that it is The Apprentice Uber Alles is a brilliantly done parody cover of California Uber Alles. Very well done. I really liked it. And we'll talk about that here momentarily. But actually, let's play another one of his songs, Lemonade Stand, The Tyranny, and we'll play a part of that and find out what that's about as well. Play a part of that, and we'll find out what that's about as well.
Lemonade stand, but I guess I had it coming to me. I felt secure and industrial strength, safe place to make my lemonade drink. And I know lawns all summer, but who's gonna pay for my workers' comp insurance? And I'd rake leaves in the autumn, but who wants to do all that much paperwork at all? And
Cool. That's a great song. That's a little more authentically Wilson. That's original music by him, correct?
Yeah, it is. So, it's sort of about. Well, go on. Go ahead.
No, tell us what it's about. So I was going to ask.
Yeah, it's you see these stories pop up in the papers or whatever from time to time about some kid getting his lemonade stand shut down because it's not in compliance with some obscure regulation, about
he doesn't have a license. He's not contributing to Social Security. He's not contributing to taxation.
Yeah, or doesn't have like an industrial sized sink to clean the dishes. And,
not contributing to taxation is theft.
That's true.
You get that right?
Yes.
No, I got it backwards.
No. It's right. Not giving up what you have voluntarily earned to an organization that threatens you for your money is theft. So if you avoid your taxes, that's theft, according to the left. But
yeah, I mean, I remember, and also just on the whole regulation thing, if I may, like I remember, in high school and shortly afterwards, I worked for a friend of mine's dad who was a contractor, and he couldn't ever have more than 2 staff members on board because then he would have to pay like a certain amount of workers' comp insurance, just by state law. It's just I don't know.
Well, no,
everybody. Look, there's just like over-regulation, and it de-incentivizes the expanding one's business.
No, it does. I can't remember specifics, but I had a friend who worked for the city of Austin as a contractor for a while, and he talked about a similar thing where the city of Austin had these requirements for minimum numbers of minority contractors and stuff, and all of these sort of horror stories about how better contractors lost out, or companies that did work for the city basically limited their own growth to be in compliance. So there's all sorts of ways that government regulation has unintended consequences. Now, real quick, I want to throw out the principle that I always like to throw out on this topic. There's no such thing as an unregulated market. That is a myth. That is a fallacy that a lot of people subscribe to. There's either government regulation or there's market regulation. And no, that doesn't mean corporations will regulate themselves. That means that competing corporations will regulate other corporations. It means consumers will regulate corporations. It means employers will regulate employees. Employees will regulate employers. Employees will regulate other employees. Employers will regulate other employers, etc. That's how the market works. And so people who constantly cry for government regulation don't understand the market process, how it works, or how government regulation short circuits that. But anyway, I don't mean to go on a huge rant, but no, and that's a great song. It's and forget even just regulation per se. The fact that cops and local city governments are bothering little kids with lemonade stands, something that's like an American tradition going back decades. You know what I mean?
I think it's the epitome, of an over-regulatory state. It's just, it's a great example of it.
Or just a police state in general. I mean, forget just economic regulation specifically. It's a police state.
Yeah, I mean, certainly they're not throwing the kids in jail or anything. So I mean, but yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. I mean, yeah. I mean, it sends a message about where the economy can head, which is only within a small area of compliance. The Department of Compliance. I don't want it to comply with the Department of Compliance. It's more. I think it's more a bureaucratic state that is devoid of any soul, more than it is a police state. I guess is a roundabout way of saying that.
Fair enough, but I just want to add that it's a bureaucratic state is impossible without a police state, in that at the end of the day, every bureaucratic decree, every presidential directive, every act of Congress is ultimately enforced through the threat of violence.
If I may interject, though, at the same time, that's true, but it doesn't matter as much when you have a population that is more just a get along, go along population, which is I do think what our culture has kind of become. I mean, if you look at Americans of centuries ago, there was definitely more of a pushback than there is now. I mean, certainly the state has the threat of violence, but that's not what kowtows most people.
Well, no, a lot of people are propagandized into complying with the state, although they typically comply with the state when it pertains to other people. When it actually directly influences them, that's when they actually get upset. But you're right. It's through indoctrination, like the government public schools and even private schools. Like I went to private school. I was equally as indoctrinated in the government propaganda and brainwashing as any of my public school counterparts, because
more so, especially the lunch program.
I have that experience too, and I think it's because the private schools tend to let their teachers design their own curriculum, and you have all these green college graduates who are out there to change the world, And that was at least my experience. And
for sure,
I went to 1 year of private school in high school, and I had this super. Looking back on it, at the time I thought he was cool, but he was the super idealistic 25-year-old who was going to teach the kids what was true, but it was really just a bunch of leftist nonsense.
Leftist nonsense financed by the Rockefeller Foundation, by billionaires who are the enemies of the leftists, yet they finance all their movements. I wonder what that means. But yeah, we got a little less than 4 minutes left on air. Let's really quick switch gears. Tell us about Brother Can You Spare a Dime and You're Gonna Pay. What's the theme of those songs?
Well, I mean, Brother Can You Spare a Dime was I was approached by some sort of right-wing bloggers to do something for the 2012 election. And as I mentioned before, I was certainly very anti-Obama. I supported Romney in that election.
You were such a racist.
Yeah, sure, whatever. But it's funny, actually, the last time I was on a radio show, I was on NRA radio because of this other song, You're Gonna Pay. But that guy actually suggested the idea of doing a cover, sort of a punk rock cover of and Brother Can You Spare a Dime is actually an old crooner tune from the Depression era that I sort of reorganized into a punk rock song.
Cool.
It was for the 2012 election, sort of, I guess, as this Trump one is now for the 2016. But it I did not sway the election, unfortunately. My efforts were ultimately futile. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool video. It was I don't know. It's a cool rearrangement of an old tune.
Well, that's cool. People should check that out. It wasn't an election; it was a selection. There is no swaying the outcome, and the outcome is controlled behind the scenes either way. That's my opinion.
I know that.
That's my opinion.
I was being facetious.
Oh, okay. But I'm just throwing that out there. Well, we got less than 2 minutes left. Wilson, where can people learn more about your songs and contact you and all that?
I mean, if you go to wilsongetchell.com, Wilson, as in the volleyball, and then Getchell, GETCHELL.com.
Wilson!
Exactly.
There's a picture of a bloody handprint on a soccer ball on his site.
That's actually what I look like.
That explains why you shy away from being in your videos.
That's why I'm a radio man. I'm a radio.
Got a face for radio. That's awesome. Well, Wilson Getchell, wilsongetchell.com. Check out his songs, The Apprentice, Uber Alice, You're Gonna Pay, Brother Can You Spare a Dime, Lemonade Stand the Tyranny, wilsongetchell.bandcamp.com as well, Bandcamp, and walleyed.net, WALL-EYED. And on outgoing this last minute, I want a quick quote by Ludwig von Mises, the economist. Control of every aspect of the individual is virtually the goal of both national parties. And he was specifically referring to the Republican and Democratic parties here in the United States, and he was absolutely right. I pick on the left a lot, and for good reason, but don't get me wrong.
He's right-handed.
The right is nearly as bad. So, what's up, Wilson?
I was just going to say, aren't we going to do a little extra session that'll be on the website or something?
And we are. So we'll have a few minutes extra with Wilson. So if you want to hear more, go to thecryptoshow.com here in a little bit, and we'll have some extra stuff, podcast style, to add to the show. And very exciting stuff. Wilson, it's been a pleasure, though.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, it's been great. Miss you, man. And we'll talk a little bit more off air.
Sweet.